Hey, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm back. I'm multitasking right now. How y'all doing? Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to my mods I see in the chat, Miss Sexy Queen and Angie Williams. Shout out to y'all. And let me get this picture off here because it's on the wrong side. But anyway, yes, she said she good. Thanks. Yes, I'm glad you're good, Angie. Welcome in, everybody. It's Lady Isis, the spiritual detective. And we're doing something different today. I decided to go on live a little early today just to see how this go. I want to keep this an hour and a half. You know, hopefully it doesn't go over that. But we need to talk about something very, very, very important. Told you to turn it down. I told you to turn it down. You have to go in your room if you're gonna have it up. Okay, so the ancestors was dealing a lot lately with psychological warfare and spiritual warfare and really diving deep into this topic. But before I get started, we're gonna see how this work out, y'all. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. So before I get started, I just wanted to say something because I don't know. I felt like I needed to say what my intentions of this channel is. Okay. I know I like to stream a lot of things that I feel like is relevant to the collective, like as far as like true crime and things like that. But I only stream and talk about topics that I feel guided to talk about, right? So I think that a lot of people that have subscribed to the channel, which I do appreciate, shout out to y'all, all the new subscribers that I've gotten to, I see all of y'all, okay? But it's more than just content creation for me, right? It's about liberating and freeing the minds of the people. So you could pretty much consider me like um, a modern day Harriet Tubman by way of technology, because the root problem here that we have as a society is the battle of the mind and the fact that most people are still mentally enslaved whether they know it or not. They took the locks off the chains, and we still holding on to the chains as a collective. And I want to focus specifically on my people. No offense to anyone else, but the ancestors are saying we are the only ones who can correct this atrocity. That is literally what I heard. Okay. So, you know, I am here to free your mind, or at least plant seeds in the minds of y'all so that y'all will be inspired to dive deep, to ask questions, and go from there, right? It's more than content for me. It's more than entertainment for you. And, you know, this is an evolution, and this is mental liberation. So that's what this channel is for. That's what I am here. That's what I'm here for. And when I feel guided to speak about a certain topic, I like to go and dive deep. So that's what we're going to do today in regards to the topic of the hidden real war on your mind by way of psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. I got a list of things: psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, like psychological trafficking, right? What is the list? Psychic warfare, intelligence warfare, and remote viewing. Okay. Obviously, I can't dissect and dive deep into each one of those topics that I described, but we can start with psychological and spiritual warfare and give a breakdown of everything else. Because I think that if we start to realize the tactics that are taking place against our minds in real time, then we'll be able to detach from this system of oppression. Slavery never ended. It just evolved. It never ended. Okay. So with that being said, again, welcome in. Let's dive deep enough, right? Because I'm always come back and talk about these things. And I want to say that too. Like when I'm streaming about true crime topics and things like that, first we need to understand that media is a stage, right? From the news to the content we consume and subscribe to that has no substance, it is a stage for them. The deaths that we see on the news more than likely is a sacrifice. You know, it's their entertainment. It's their way of siphoning, or it's their way of feeding off the fear of the collective, for one. Everything that we see on the news is already some shit they pre-planned. That's what, based off my research and the things that I've read about and how they weaponize the news and media and things like that. It's all tactics, you know, and sacrificial. Most people that are on these true crime shows and stuff, they've been there in covens, cults, some type of secret society groups, something to that extent. So it's never a coincidence. And that's another point I want to make. Psychological warfare, if they want to use media as a foundation to siphon fear from the public, right? By way of psychological warfare, creating fear within the collective so that they can harvest off of our fear and keep creating illusions and for people to believe in so that they can keep their illusionary sense of power and control over the masses of people. 1010 on the timer. That may be significant for somebody. But, you know, all of it is already planned. If y'all go read what the CIA has to say about psychological warfare, then you will understand a lot more what I'm about to say, or even what I'm saying now, right? Psychological warfare is a tactic that they use to in slavery, with the Willie Lynch tactic, right? That all of that was psychological. So the ancestors are saying we are the only ones who can correct this atrocity. Now, what is another word for atrocity, right? Evil. Number one, evil. This backwardness of true spirituality, right? This is what I see Miss Sexy Queen in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna try to just stay focused on what I'm saying. That I'll get to the comments in a minute. But the matrix is created on everything opposite of the divine Black royal family concept, right? So we are naturally, as Black, indigenous, copper color, 9 ether beings, okay, whichever one resonate with you, we are supposed to be the manifestation of the cosmic divine royal family. We are inherently loving people, right? That don't mean weak. That don't mean, pushover, none of that. It just means that naturally we are a living people. So the matrix is the opposite of living, which is that of the dead. Okay. So as long as you are mentally enslaved and they are able to keep you enslaved by way of psychological and spiritual warfare, removing you from your source, which is that of the cosmic great mother, right? Your blueprint, then you are amongst the walking dead, and they can utilize your mind and your God power to create their illusions, because they have no power in actuality. Even their sense of power is an illusion. They got to use your mind and your subconscious mind to even keep up the false sense of the illusion to begin with. That's how powerful we are, the soul beings, right? Because we are the ones that have the soul. We are the ones that have the ability to dismantle, disrupt timelines, and create new timelines. Okay. So this is why they had to conquer us in such a diabolical, evil, backwards way, because they needed our mind power to create their illusions. Okay. So another word for atrocity is crime, wrong, abomination, abuse, and injustice. Okay. We got a long way to go. We got a long way to go as a people. And it takes for us to really to talk about it, regardless if we feel like people don't listen, because a topic like this should be something that a lot of our people should be watching and interested in. But they're so used to being the entertainers and being entertained that the information that would truly free their minds, they don't find no interest in. They're so used to being the clowns in a white man's circus or being entertained, like I said, that this type of information does not even move them one way or the other. They could care less. And that is a problem, because like I said, the ancestors are saying we are the only ones who can correct this atrocity. Us. Because when we correct it here in the 3D, it corrects and overrides in the cosmos. As above, so below. Okay, so this is very critical information, and there's layers to it. So it will be impossible for this topic to be covered in an hour and a half, hell, a year, probably. It is something that you have to really dissect and make a part of your lifestyle. You have to dive deep on a daily basis, because you are being attacked on the daily basis. They don't let up. They don't let up. They put in billions of dollars, hell, probably more than that, on just marketing to your psychology every single year. Okay? Even your awakening and your awakening and higher consciousness is marketed to. They want to keep us enslaved by any means necessary. So this is why you got to do the footwork. I can only talk for so much and so long. You can only listen to somebody else talk for so much and so long. But if you're not experiencing this and doing the research and doing your due diligence to obtain this knowledge, and then the universe will put you to the test. All the information that you are accumulating, you will be put to the test to test your character, because this is a battle of the mind, which is ultimately a battle of your character. Are you with the ops, the evil, backwards, abominating, abusive, injustice system? Or are you a being of who you were truly meant to be in your birthright, sovereignty, right? Respect, dignity, regard, unconditional love, harmony. Okay. That is who you are meant to be. That is the ones who have a soul. Okay. So the war on the mind. Let's start with this. I just wanted to say that because that's important. Now, pull this up. So psychological warfare, by definition, is the deliberate use of propaganda, misinformation, manipulation of perception, and emotional tactics to influence individuals or groups. The goal is to break down morale, create confusion, make the target doubt their own judgment. That is the goal of psychological warfare. And your own family is the first tactic that uses psychological warfare against you. Your family dynamic is the system that primes you. They prime you to become a victim of psychological warfare, never to question anything, right? Because they want you so fear-based. They want you so traumatized. They want you so low energetically and vibrationally that you don't even attempt to escape just that system alone, right? Because most people don't want to leave their family behind. Most people don't want to challenge the elders in their family. Most people do become the victim and they become people pleasers, and they're gaslit to hell, right? Because motherfuckers will make you feel like you crazy, right? So that family dynamic is the first system. Okay. Now, other examples of psychological warfare is media manipulation, gaslighting entire populations. They have gaslit the entire population of our people, okay? Because we're focusing on our indigenous copper-colored non-ether beings, okay? Because we the ones that's gonna flip all this shit over. We about to flip all the shit off the table and flip the table with it, right? Gaslighting. They want to acknowledge our spirituality. They want to acknowledge our culture. They want to acknowledge everything that we are, but they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they psychologically traumatize us as a collective. You cannot talk about spirituality without addressing what their ancestors did to our ancestors. That to me is gaslighting. That's problematic, and it's like sweeping shit under the rug. We don't want to sweep shit under the rug no more. We ain't doing it with our family dynamic. We ain't doing it with they ass either. Because I hear a siren in the background. I say to the ancestors. Okay, we're not doing that. We can't ignore the fact that something traumatizing happened to us because it's affecting us today, right? It's affecting our minds and how we commune with one another. We'll sell out our own people for $1. or some form of benefit. That's a problem. That's not who we are at our core. We have morals, right? Because remember, I just said they want to break down your morale. Okay. We are people of moral and substance and respect and dignity, honor, warriors on top of that, because it never gave weak. It never gave simp. Never. But I think that our people let our empathy sometimes override our logic, because we are innately, right, inherently loving people. Okay. So other examples would be fear campaigns. So your enemy is everywhere. You need to know thyself, and you need to study thy enemy. Because guess what? Our enemy studied us so much that they knew how to conquer us mentally and psychologically. They don't need to change no more. The body gonna follow. And not only that, they'll go against each other to uphold our oppressive systems. They don't even like each other. That same divide and conquer tactic happens psychologically, physically, through media, through, culture and, beauty standards and whatever else, right? All to do what? Psychologically traffic us, our energy. That is the most massive form of trafficking, other than what we experience and we see here happening in this 3D realm. Everything that happens in the 3D realm, you can count on is happening spiritually as well. We're just witnessing it with our eyes, right? But whatever happens spiritually happens first, and then it manifests here. This is why I say nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is literally a coincidence. If it's happening spiritually first, that means numerically, it's already coded. It's codes, right? So it's already happening. Everything is vibrating in this 3D realm. Everything is numerically coded in this 3D realm. So therefore, this is just a manifestation of previous thoughts. And then you got the Black people that don't want to go and do the research. They don't want to deal with slavery. It's too traumatizing to go back and read. It's too hurtful to go back and see what our people went through and how they was forced to say they was having a good ass jolly time when they wasn't. I love the master treats us good. I heard several interviews of our people saying shit like that. They were programmed. They were brainwashed to say shit like that. And hell, if we know, they could have made that shit up. Right? But we can't be afraid to go and look at the history, because it's affecting our present and ultimately our future. What they say, you want to know where we headed? Look at our past. You can't avoid the past. That's toxic. That's collectively toxic. They want to gaslight us collectively, and we collectively being toxic, not dealing with the trauma itself. Everything, I can guarantee you that every form of trauma goes back to psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, and slavery. That Willie Lynch later, it breaks it down how they broke down and made the slave. Okay? So they know their enemy. We are their enemy. Okay? Ain't no peace, love, and light. We are their enemy. Anytime you are creating system of oppression where I can't be free to be exactly who I was born to be and operate in my sovereignty, then you are my enemy and I am yours. I don't need your respect. I don't need you to like me. I'm not trying to get your validation. I don't care if you fall off the face of the earth, quite frankly, because you're a parasite to me. You're dangerous to my well-being. So I don't look for the white man to like me. I don't look for a racist to like me. And our Black people, we had this problem where we want to be liked so bad by people that don't fucking like you. They hate everything about you. That's why they exploited everything about the divine royal black family. They dismantled the fuck out of us to the point where we collectively operate from distorted masculine and feminine energies, helping them keep up these systems of oppression. That's what we're doing, because we don't want to go and do the work and stand on something. Stand on business about your people. Stand on business about your truth, your sovereignty, the divine great mother. Right? That's what we should be focusing on. Not all this other bullshit of it being entertained. Because I definitely don't do what I do to entertain you or anyone. It's just about the truth. Now we vibe out, because I love a good vibe. It's always been a good vibe. But I can't hold you up. I would not feel like I'm being myself if all I make is content to entertain y'all and not give you any form of liberation, not plant no seeds, that will help you evolve and embark up the tree of self-mastery, or you know what I'm saying? I want to be of substance to you. So I can't coddle nobody's feelings. I can't, I'm not going to do it. I'm not. I don't even coddle my own feelings. I got to do what I got to do. And that's just that, right? So this is what the ancestors is calling for, y'all. Okay? It's time to take a stand. What hood you claim or something? What hood you rep? That's what I'm hearing. It's like, who do you stand for? Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? So they took me way over there. Okay, so let me really back on in. All right. How does psychological warfare connect to colonialism and racism? Right? It's used to justify oppression, normalize colonizers' rules, and make resistance look futile. Okay? That sounds like the same state that we in right now as a collective. As a collective. And it's only so much that they can do. They can attack one of us who wake up, right? They can attack a few of us who wake up, But all of us waking up, all of us realizing what they've been doing to us, all of us taking our power back, all of us choosing to support one another and not go against, the royal family, the true royal family. Let me make that clear. Because the Matrix got their royal family, the 13 bloodlines, which is abomination and a fucking mockery to the great mother, right? Because number 13, that's a divine feminine number, right? 23, right? So that in itself is a mockery. They're mocking you, me, us, she, her, me, right? Ain't nothing royal about it. They're literally sacrificing children and people, eating people, drinking them, doing all type of filthy abomination type shit, right? Evil, wicked, backward shit. To mock us. So they exploit us in every way possible, right? Oh, they're the royal family. No, we're the royal family. We are. But we got to learn what is family. What is family? Because if we go based off the family that we were born into, taking us back to that part, right? Because that first system of family is what set us to be primed for their oppressive systems and groups and being small, right? Not being in your God body. They want to be in your God body. They want to create with your God mind. Right? So we even have to dissect what is family? What is real family? And I'm also thinking about, to the ones that have the spirit of the oppressor and they're not really, they look like us, but they ain't us. They not like us, right? We can't even feel sorry for them. You can't save them. They don't want to be saved. Leave their ass where they at. They want to perish away with the oppressors and the people who think that they've conquered the real royal family. Let them believe that. They want to stay over there. Let them. Because what did Auntie Harriet do when they was getting ready to cross that motherfucking river? And the motherfucker get cold feet like, oh, I don't think I can do this. I'm going to just go back to my oppressor. What she do? Pow, one to the head. You know he did. That's what she did. So we got to have, now I ain't saying do that. I'm just saying you can't risk it. The royal family cannot risk traitors. We can't risk the family for traitors and people that don't want to be a part of that, a part of the real. Well, you just can't. Okay. So, and it's not about feelings. It's not about your emotions. It's just about what it is, what's right, what's serving the royal black family, what's not, who is, who's not. You don't want to be a part of it. Fine. Stay over there. And don't feel bad about it. Okay. Now, they don't want us to resist. Psychologically, they want you disarmed. They don't want us questioning nothing. They want to disarm your critical thinking, right? Have you in that reptilian state of mind where you are just a body and brain dead. No resistance. To have resistance is to have resistance. That is a characteristic of the divine royal family. That is a part of our character, to be able to resist things that do not serve the black royal family. So to not say no to oppression is to agree with it. To be quiet and silent and mute about things that are wrong is then you're agreeing with the system. You're in cahoots with that same oppressive system that don't give a fuck about you. Only itself. They just want to maintain power and control with itself. It does not care about you. So we got to have resistance. That is a characteristic of sovereignty. That sense of saying no. Just like some of us have said no to our family dynamic because we no longer want to be abused. We no longer want to be traumatized. We choosing ourselves. We just said hell no, walked away, went cold turkey, cut the ass off. That's how we got to be about this same beast of oppression that likes to hide in the shadows and don't be exposed. But all the while, it's the damn mastermind behind all this shit. The very reason your family dynamic is the way it is. Then you leave that system, you go to the work system, you go to the school system, you go to the religious system. And still got to deal with racism, still got to deal with being judged, still got to deal. It's not serving us to be in oppression. It's not. It's destroying us. Okay? Now, spiritual warfare, definition for spiritual warfare by the book is framing the conflict as a battle over belief systems, morality, and the soul. Not just land or power. Right? Because if they can break you down spiritually, then again, the body will follow. The God mind will create oppression and fear. The goal is to win the hearts and faith of the people. So they exploit our loyalty, right? Because not only are we a loving people, a resisting people, a warrior people, we are a faithful and loyal people. So they want to exploit that. So they want to replace our sense of loyalty with suppressing our original spirituality and calling it evil. They went on a witch hunt, killing our women, our high priestess, because of our spirituality and being connected to source and being being divine feminines, having a spiritual eye to see whatever we needed to see spiritually, right? So they don't want us to operate in our spirituality, but they want to use our magic and spirituality against us. Make that make sense. And then tell us it's evil. Everything that the white man has said, we need to be going back and questioning that and getting to the root of, right? We need to get to the root. Every single thing in the Bible, every single thing that they tell us is evil, everything that they tell us not to pay attention to, that's exactly where we need to go. They tell us to stay out the dark. The dark is scary. That's the devil. You better stay out the dark. You better go pray. Get in the church. Give me your heart and your faith. Stay out the dark. Maybe that's exactly where I need to be at. Maybe it ain't even no devil. Maybe the devil that you told me is my enemy is actually not my enemy. Maybe it's the Jesus that you gave me and the concept of the Jesus that you gave me. Maybe it's that, right? Because we had to flip everything that they have told us. They lie. Then they tell you that the Jesus is a jealous God, right? They tell you who they are. They're backwards, right? Evil spelled backwards is evil. They're all things evil. All things. Evil and dead and wicked. So they tell you that it's just a father, somebody coming to save you. Wait for the sky gods and sky daddies. It's male, 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 male. Everything is a male. Forget the feminine. And if we do remember the feminine, it's only to serve us, the male gods. She has no other place other than having a muzzle on her mouth and a maid, apron, cooking, cleaning, and being what'd you call it? A birth. All she do is birth children. I know what I'm trying to say, but a baby farm. That's it. They minimize the feminine down to this much. So that's exactly what you should be doing. We should be going to look at, okay, what really is the feminine? Why do they demonize the feminine? They literally start the Bible off demonizing the woman principle, Eve. You ever wonder why they call her Eve? Because of the Eve gene, which is the primordial blueprint of the divine black feminine. You know, so they take every aspect of us and continuously mock and exploit us. And we sit back and we defend the oppressors. Black people swear by that oppressive book. They will become your enemy. My grandma told me I'm her enemy because I was trying to enlighten her and tell her exactly what I know to be true. I was trying to remind her, right? Because all I'm doing is reminding y'all of who you are. You already know this. If you go within yourself and you meditate and you question everything I'm telling you, don't take my word for it. Go sit with yourself and you commune with source. Let source tell you if I'm telling you the truth. That's where you use your discernment. But see, Bible thumpers, church goers, the motherfuckers that believe in Jesus and all of that, in an indoctrinating way, they don't want to hear this. They will become your enemy. That's just that. They'll become your enemy. They won't support you. They won't they'll call you crazy. They'll talk about you like a dog. All of these things, all because you try to tell them some facts and truths. I'm trying to tell you that you're a divine feminine. Oh, the divine feminine is wicked. Excuse me? You're a divine masculine. Oh, what you mean? It's like you're telling them something wrong. But see, that's a part of the programming and the brainwashing, right? They defend the oppressor. Even when the oppressor is not even in the room, they defending the oppressor. They are still house Negroes. You know how they used to talk, the slaves used to talk about the owner? They'll talk like, oh, the master's sick, right? The master sick. Oh, we sick. We sick, master. They identify with their master. And it's sickening. I know for a fact, if I incarnated now and I was back in slavery, I know I was rebellious. Hell, I might have been Harriet Tubman. I might have been her. Or a piece of her lingers around me, because I know I wouldn't have been able to do that. And been in nobody's house doing none of that. But again, they operate and they think like they've embodied the spirit of their oppressor by way of brainwashing, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare. They're afraid of the dark when we come from the dark. We are the primordial force, the same force that's in the cosmos, in space right now, that the scientists don't know how it's expanding. How is it still creating? Right? They call it dark matter, dark energy, the darkness. That's where we come from. Right? We are that blueprint force that is used to create. Right? We are chaos beings. They can't create a goddamn thing. They not connected to source. How can they? You don't have a soul. How can you create? I shape pebbles. All right. Now, some examples of spiritual warfare looks like missionaries erasing indigenous religions. The whole hierarchy of religion, right, is set up just like a cult, a coven. All of the systems have hierarchies because they want to mimic us so bad. They want to be the divine royal family so bad, right? That they have to mimic our spirituality initiations, right? Because we get initiated spiritually by way of experience, by way of wisdom from our elders, right? So it's like a hierarchy, but not like a distorted sense of hierarchy. It's to maintain that sacredness within the divine royal family. But they have hierarchies too, to maintain the distortions, the illusions, and the power of and the illusion of power and control. Okay, so that same hierarchy is within the church. I just thought about that when I read missionaries erasing indigenous religions. They erase it, or do they replace it? They do both. They want you to not know nothing about your origins. Well, oops. Too late for that, because Chat GPT can help us a whole hell of a lot. That's why I say in this day and time, there's no excuse as to why our people don't know where we come from, who we are, why they continuing to attack us psychologically, spiritually, and physically if they have to, right? Because they don't mind taking your ass out. They don't mind starting wars. They don't mind doing none of that and feel nothing, right? Because they don't, it don't bother them at all. They'll unalive one of ours and go have a barbecue if they ain't barbecued your ass and take a nap. They do it with absolutely no care in the world, right? So yeah, another example is religious fear tactics. So hell, curses, divine punishment. That hell one got us in the chokehold. Hell got our black people, black asses, in the chokehold because they believe that they are going to go to some candy. Yes, hold on. They believe that they're going to go to some place where their souls will burn for eternity. How about this? Your soul is a burning flame. Your soul is already a burning flame. So you're not going to go anywhere and burn for eternity. If anything, if you reclaim your sovereignty in this plane, you're going to go to where you're supposed to be, which is that of the divine frequency, back to source. I don't like that whole concept of everybody got a soul, everybody go back to source. It don't matter if they this color, that color, whatever. Everybody got a soul. Everybody don't have a soul. Let's cut the bullshit. Because if that were the case, they wouldn't be doing this backwards, evil, wicked, diabolical shit. Why? That's not of the divine. Yes, there are times for death and rebirth, right? There are times for deconstructing things and rebuilding things. They like to destroy shit and don't rebuild nothing. That's not of the divine. They want to destroy things to wipe away memories, right? To wipe away whole villages, a whole group of people, so that they can rewrite history and keep the brains of the people brainwashed and have them believing in his story and not her story, that of the great mother, the blueprint, and her children, that of the nine ether. They want us to forget who we are. So that ain't a part of no goddamn sacred death and rebirth. No, they want to tear shit up, tear it down for their own benefit. That's all they want to do. And then they demonize native gods as evil spirits. Now, who are the native? Who would y'all say the native gods are? Anybody in the chat? Who would y'all say the native gods are? Give you a hint. Remember, they stole this land, right? I'm gonna give you a hint. Remember, they stole this land. So who would you say the native gods are? Here. Hello. The native gods will be us. The native gods are the indigenous people of this land, which are our ancestors. Okay? So they wanted to demonize them as evil spirits. Why? To keep us disconnected from the so-called dead, which is really the living. Energy doesn't die, it just transfers. So if you have a loved one that passed away, Wouldn't that mean that they have access to go between realms interdimensionally, multidimensionally, instead of just being bound to this 3D realm? That doesn't mean that they turn into vapor and just withered away into nothing. Their energy, we're energy. So they want us to be disconnected from our ancestors and deem them as evil spirits. So then we'll say things like, the dead don't know what the living doing, to keep us disconnected from our people and our heritage. Mm-hmm. So the connection to psychological trafficking by way of spiritual warfare is people internalize the oppressor's spiritual framework, believing rebellion is sin, right? So you can't question this God. You can't question the oppressor's abusive tactics. You can't rebel against it, or they'll take some type of brute force to get you back in alignment and back back into slavery, basically. So if we are in oppressive systems, what would that make us? A slave. This is why friend of mine is so important. We got to do this work. Like, it's literally time. Matter of fact, but it's time for us to do this. It's time. So people internalize the oppressor's spiritual work. So what would the spiritual work be? Wouldn't that be witchcraft and some form of magic? If I'm using my mind power to convince you to do something that I want you to do by way of spelling, right? Using my words, spell words. So if I'm doing that to confuse your mind, to disarm your mind, or to manipulate your mind in any way, then that's spiritual framework. I want you to think what I want you to think. I want you to do what I want you to do. So that's witchcraft. It could be used for good or evil. Right? And then don't rebel against it, because now they feel like they're going to go where? Straight to hell, gasoline draws on. So they don't want to question nothing. White people are the only people that needed a book to tell them how to have character. That's why they created the 10 Commandments. They needed some type of framework, spiritual framework, to tell them how to be or appear to be like a divine royal being, because we naturally embody these characters. The only reason that our people are not embodying this is because they've been brainwashed and they believe that a God is outside of themselves so that they can use their God mind and create, right? They want us to believe that somebody's coming to save us from all of this heartache and pain and abuse. Somebody's coming to save me. I can do wrong and still be forgiven. Not really, because them scales got to balance. However, as long as our critical thinking and we don't have no sense of resistance, they're getting away with karmic debt while we living out their karmic debt because we don't resist. That's a power, right? We're supposed to be able to resist what's wrong. We see oppression all over the place, yet we turn an eye. Yet we act like we don't see when people getting abused and traumatized. We just turn an eye. Whether you don't care, whether you worried about your two and no more, or rather you don't want to get involved because you don't want no problems or whatever the excuse is. It don't matter. I don't care. Whatever the excuse is, you see something wrong, you say something. But again, somebody coming to save us from the sky. We just waiting for the horns, right? We're just waiting for the trumpets to sound. This earth been sitting on this axis for billions of years. Nobody's coming. Christianity was created 2,000 years ago. Nobody's coming. Hold on a second, y'all. All right, I'm back. So yeah, y'all picking up when I put down? Y'all all ears or what? Let me know y'all still in the chat. Drop an emoji or something. All right. So nobody's coming to save us. We got to tackle this thing spiritually. This is spiritual work that we got to do. We got to do a lot of healing. We got to do a lot of reclaiming the power. And we got to learn to resist and say hell no to the bullshit and the oppression. Okay. You got to save yourself. You got to bear your own goddamn cross. Okay. Enough of the bullshit, enough of the games, and enough of the sugarcoating. Now, psychic warfare, the definition of that is the use or claimed use of mental or energetic abilities. So that's telepathy, that's intention, remote influence to affect another person's thoughts, emotions, or health. Okay, so that happens a lot as well. The goal is to influence, destabilize, or gather intelligence without physical contact. The examples of psychic warfare is claims of psychic attacks, like you feel like something in the shadows or unseen is attacking you, right? Or you just feel like somebody got the evil eye at you, right? Occult rituals for control, collective thought form, projections. I talk about projections a lot because people treat you exactly how they feel about themselves. So they're going to project who they are on the inside to you to get you to lower your vibration and frequency so that you will still remain a NPC, a non-playing character, or so that it literally disrupt your electromagnetic field. Like literally, if you allow it, if you accept it as truth, like, you know, when people talk down on you, because it's a difference when a person is using their words to attack you versus giving you constructive criticism that it still allows you to feel respected and evolve from, right? So it's a difference in that. If you feel like a person is saying certain things to you or thinking things about you, or you feeling like you're not yourself, or you feel like you're dealing with anxiety, fear, things of that nature, stress and stuff, then their intention is to lower your frequency because they are a major agent for the matrix, or they are NPC. So they want to make you the same thing and see energetically, right? Electromagnetically on this matrix grid, right? They can see when you are vibrating high. They can see when your aura is expanding, when you're healing and you're closing those energetic entries, right? Because trauma, what it does spiritually, spiritually, psychically, or electromagnetically, right? Or your torus field. If y'all need to see pictures, I can show you pictures. But trauma disrupt that natural flow of your aura. Okay. So it creates openings in your spiritual bodies to be influenced or hijacked by outside entities, these lower vibrational entities that we can feel, some can see, right? Because some have the eyes to see, you know, or you can feel it, and those same entities will operate in those who are still traumatized. So this is another reason why it's highly important that we're healing, that we're doing the inner work, because you don't want to be a easy target to be hijacked and used to keep up this matrix and false illusions, right? All right. So the collective thought form projection. So if we as an individual have a aura or an electromagnetic field, our collective does too. We got a collective aura, and it's traumatized. All right? It's traumatized, and it's affecting the ones that is healed. It's affecting the ones that are healed. Okay? So this is another reason, if I haven't given you enough, why we need to be healing as a collective, because it affects the cosmos. As above, so below, to take us right back full circle. As the ancestors are saying, we are the only ones who can correct this atrocity. So collectively, we need to be healing. All right. Now, moving along, historical notes. Some governments, including the USA, the USSR, funded research into psychic phenomena in the Cold Era war. Let me tell you something. They've been doing this. They've been psychically attacking us, spiritually attacking us, psychologically attacking us. They've been using intelligence warfare against us all along. I've also made it very clear to y'all in previous lives that the access of technology that we have, they so far beyond the technology that they have and that they use to spy and surveillance the collective. At least 60 years ahead of us today with this technology. Okay? They've been doing this. They've been creating these spiritual crimes, and they need to be held accountable for what they're doing. All right? So intelligence intelligence warfare, by definition, intelligence warfare, by definition, is the battle to collect and weaponize information. The goal is to outmaneuver an enemy by knowing their plans, their secrets, their vulnerabilities, or by feeding them false information. So examples would be espionage. I think I'm saying it right. I need to look that up. Cyber warfare, surveillance programs. Okay. The connection to psychological warfare and intelligence warfare isn't just about knowing things. It's also about shaping what your target thinks they know. So this is where I say even your awakening is marketed to, right? Because the real war that the military, the army, the navy, and all of that, the real war is on our intelligence, right? They don't want us to question things to obtain knowledge. They don't want us to connect to source and our intuition, because that is a divine intelligence that they can't put in a box. They can't trap that intelligence. They can't fuck with divine intelligence, okay? They can't. The only thing they can do is try to keep you from obtaining that, which is your birthright, right? We are divine intelligence. The universe is constantly expanding, which means our intelligence is constantly expanding too. Okay, let's look up espionage. That's Espionage. That means, infiltration. Okay, another word for that is infiltration, which makes total sense because that is the main tactic that they've used against us by infiltrating our system, our divine system, right? They found, I don't even want to say like loopholes. They found ways to exploit us by infiltrating our blueprint, our system, exploiting the divine feminine womb, and creating distorted feminine chaos and destruction. Okay? So that's how the Matrix is able to maintain its illusions and lies by way of infiltrating. Now, this is a big one. I can't wait to get to the next one. So, because all of this connects, everything I'm talking about, it connects because they are in active war on our mind. They ain't just using one tactic. They ain't just using two. They're using a multitude of tactics against our mind so that we never come out of it. Or we too weak to fight back, or we too lazy to question things, or we just too, emotionally dysregulated, nervously. Our nervous system is dysregulated. They want to keep us stressed out. And then when you do awaken, they want to call you crazy. So then you don't wake nobody else up. And then everybody gaslights you. And then a lot of times people get stuck in that spiritual psychosis because they don't have the support and the confirmation that they need to have from their peers around them, because they're going to be gaslit. They're agents for the Matrix. They're NPCs that naturally hold up the oppressive system. So they want to make you feel like once you obtain higher consciousness, which is intelligence, okay? Higher consciousness is intelligence. They want to make you question that. And a lot of times people take their lives in that spiritual psychosis because it drives them mentally insane. So they want you to create a self-fulfilling prophecy by, making the decision to sabotage yourself. When they already doing everything in their will and in their power to sabotage you. They want you to sabotage yourself too. Right? Another word for espionage is shadowing, counterintelligence. Now, why would they need to counterintelligent or use a system of counterintelligence? Why would they need to do that? Oh, because the divine intelligence is a direct threat to their system, their false grid. The false matrix is a false grid that operates off of distorted masculine and feminine, especially number one, distorted feminine energy to create this false illusion. It comes through the distorted feminine energy, right? But why would they need to counterintelligence or have counterintelligence? Why? Why would they need to do that when most people don't even realize how intelligent they are to begin with? Because they've been brainwashed or they've been manipulated to believe that there's something smaller than what they truly are, or they've been manipulated to believe that they are not the God of their reality. So why would they need counterintelligence agencies? Why? That's what you should ask yourself. All right. So in surveillance, undercover work, secret service. Okay. So we breaking down the word espionage. This is an example of intelligence warfare. The battle to collect, control, and weaponize information. Why would they need to weaponize information? Why do they need to collect information? Because they love to collect information and they love to destroy information too. And then they love to rewrite it. And then also they like to control what type of information and history is being told to our children in their schools. Because they already worried about the next 4 generations. While we living in this present moment, worried about, our 1, 2 generations, they already 4, 5, 6, 7 generations ahead of us. Because they are so dedicated to destroying their enemy, which is us, because we are divine. Divine intelligence is us. We create. Do they not steal everything from us? I never tell you a lie. Tell you a joke, but I never tell you a lie, and y'all know it. Do they not steal everything from us? Why? Because we create everything. We can't even have the damn pyramids. We can't even have our land. We can't even have our culture. Because they want every fucking thing. And then they perceive all of our being, everything that makes us divine, they perceive it as a threat. The time is up. Their time is up. They know their time is up. The Pope thought he was doing something, what? Still bowing down to the black goddess? The mother and the son? The black son? That still ain't gonna save your ass. Because the shit that they've done, abomination. The ancestors say atrocity. Atrocity. That fucking fish ain't gonna save them either. That fish hat ain't gonna save you either. No, that fish hat is also a mockery to the womb. Like, I got to take y'all down these rabbit holes with me. I think I need to start going live and take y'all down these rabbit holes with me. For real. The shape of the woman's womb, the shape of the woman's vagina is like a pointed up fish. Let me draw it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find a picture for y'all. I feel like I need to show y'all this. Because they literally steal everything. Literally. And you had the nerve to put that fish on top of your head. Like you the portal of all creation. That's the mockery. Matter of fact, what was I might be able to just show y'all from my phone because I was just looking at this last night. Okay, 1 second, y'all. I don't know what made me look up. Then I was looking up white Africans too. Like, okay, that's another topic. Okay, where is it? Oh my goodness. Did I exit out of it? Let me go to my history real quick. Because Monday. Okay. Okay, I know why I was looking this up. The Vesica piscis. I don't even think I'm saying that right, but I'll show y'all a picture. Okay. I doubt if I'm saying that right. But I was wondering, like, because the Great Mother, her blueprint is in everything, right? The nines, which is us, the 9 ether beings, is 9 people in here. Look at the synchronicity. All right. But if you look in nature, sacred geometry, that is the blueprints of the Great Mother. She got her stamp on everything. Even in our aura, our Taurus field, it is a shape of this. I'm going to just show y'all because I know I'm saying it wrong. And then I'm going to get back to the poke because I ain't forgot. We literally create sacred geometry when we align. When we align with nature, when we align to our true selves, when we heal our trauma that was inflicted by the oppressors that most Black people still fucking love today. Okay. But when we align with who we truly are, we create sacred geometry in our aura. Is that not powerful? Now look at this here. You see that there? See this Merkaba, this right here. This is a picture of a sacred geometry shape, right? When we are, okay, this is something too. Like the tree of life, right? Can y'all see this? Okay, this is the cosmic organism, sacred geometry of creation. Okay. Our Taurus field look just like this. Okay. Now, when we connect with our divine counterpart, which is the very reason why they attack us individually, so that we will never connect with our divine counterpart, right? We also create sacred geometry together, which will look a lot like this. This is the divine feminine energy, and that will be the masculine pointing up, the feminine pointing down. We create sacred geometry together. This is why they wanted to dismantle our divine cosmic royal family. But they knew they had to go after the mother because she holds that mitochondrial DNA. If you go after the mother, you could control a whole nation of people. Why? Because she's the portal. She's the God. And I mean that in a very humble way. Or not. But she's the God. Okay? Because she's the one who can create and bring something from the unseen into this seen world by way of her portal. Okay? So as far as the fish sign, let me show y'all that real quick before I forget. Because this right here is sacred geometry, a whole nother conversation, but I just want to show y'all what I mean. Okay. This is also another picture depiction of what it would look like for masculine and feminine energy to connect. Okay. What we do cosmically, we birth galaxies. Okay. So this is so much deeper than this physical. We trying to take our power back cosmically, galactically. Okay. This is what that looks like. Divine feminine and masculine coming together to create. You see that baby right there in the middle? That's a galaxy. Okay. Now, y'all know what the tree of life, that the signs on the side of that right here, that's sacred geometry, the tree of life, is what you can get all shapes from that tree of life. Now, I gotta pull up this one. Now you see this. Like even our bodies, our body shapes align with sacred geometry, our bodies, right? So you see like this middle part where both these circles meet. Just imagine I want to show y'all the picture. But I kind of don't see it. Okay, right here. This shape is what the Pope wear on his head. That hat, right? That fish-shaped hat. This comes from the yoni, the vagina shape, right? See this right here? See, can y'all see that real good? That, how that looks like the fish?
Mom.
Some mockery.
Mom.
And if you can go look it up yourself, you probably can see what I looked for right there, and just go look and do a deep dive for yourself. Okay?
I want to pee. Mom, I want to pee.
No, it can't be on that. Okay? So that fish hat is a mockery to the divine feminine. And, you know, to people who are psychotic and sociopath, they would think that mocking the very creation that even made it possible for them to be here, you know, that they can destroy what was naturally here first, and then think that they could somehow reclaim or apologize in a way. I know it's a word I'm looking for, but you know, they can just apologize for it by worshiping the goddess. No, you still have to deal with the fact that you are destroying the very creation that the Great Mother had in mind when she created all of this. We were created in the image of the Great Mother. We were created in the image of the Great Mother, and I got about 8 minutes. You know what image mean? Image mean likeness. Image mean imprint. It means art impression. Why do you think we see shapes like this? It's so many sacred geometry symbols. Do you know that the snowflakes are sacred geometry symbols? Snowflakes. If you look at a snowflake close enough, you will see a sacred geometry symbol. So it's deeper than that. And we are made in the image of the Great Mother, which means, why would she leave us out of the creativity? She's all things creative, all things abundant, all things love. Why would we be left out of that? We're not. We're not. And we ain't the same. We're not. You got 6 ether and you got 9. We not the same. Period. It's no argument. It's no confusion. Ashe. That was a confirmation. There is no confusion. Where there's truth, there's no confusion. There's no argument. It's no power struggle. And it damn sure ain't no back and forth. Once they finally admit who the gods of this here reality is, and that they were indeed created, definitely one by the Great Mother, when they admit that, then maybe they can be spared. But they don't want to admit that. You want to worship the Great Mother in private, but abuse her children in creation, tear down, burn up nature, destroy the earth. Oh no. All right. So another word for image is replica, copy. Okay. The opposite of image will be disagreement, opposition. This is what I'm saying. Either they with us or they ain't. The only time I would perceive a white person to be with me, and this is no offense to any of my Caucasian supporters, okay? But I gotta do what I gotta do. All right. And I'm only going to say this because I'm going to still use my discernment and tell who's really for us and who's really not. Because they might even still use this to try to come off like they with us and they not. The only way is that if I hear them and I feel like they're genuine when they say, we are We are the gods. You know, we are the blueprint. And tell the goddamn truth, or where they even got the concept of Jesus from. The great mother. The great mother. In actuality, guess what we have? We have mother and son. Mother and son. My son. The real Mason, if you want to be technical. They even inverted that, flipped that. You get me? The real my son. Because our daughters that we have, they carry our mitochondria, which is seemingly us, right? It's me. It is a replica of me. The black men are a mutated version of the feminine. Look at the body, okay? Look at it. It looks like the feminine, but without the resources to nurse a child or to birth a child. So that would make it a mutated version. Not that it's less respected, not that it's less, needed, unless it's disrespectful. But, you get what I'm saying. Anybody in opposition of what I'm saying is our enemy. Okay? Another word for opposite of image is enemy. Misunderstanding, ignorance, entity. Okay? Disorganized, misinterpretation, incomprehension, unconsciousness. That shadow realm, right? Another word for opposite of image is entity and unconsciousness. So we are unconsciously creating our own opposition. In hindsight, I could pop shit about white people and what they do and oppressors and how the slave owners did this and blah, blah, blah. What they were seemingly doing was creating an entity by way of our God power. Can't stress that enough, because we are the creators. To use us to create an entity that is in opposition of the blueprint. You look up these words, you will see it. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is here. Okay? I got one more that I want to talk about, and that's remote viewing. Spirit been showing me a lot about remote viewing lately, so I just want to share this with the Divine Collective, because this is a real thing. To me, they don't even need technology to do remote viewing. They don't. Okay? But by definition, it's a claimed psychic, intuitive ability to see. Okay? To see psychically. Right? Or gather information about distant people, places, or events without physical contact. Historical note, the U.S. government ran Project Stargate, 1970 through 1990, investigating whether remote viewing could be used for spying. Now, mind you, they don't go by Project Stargate anymore. Whenever they get caught doing certain things, they don't stop. They change the name. So don't be a fool. Don't be ignorant and think that, oh, it was just from 1970 to 1990. If they found value in remote viewing, okay, which basically is they use a person's gift to see spiritually to view a certain person at a certain place at a certain time. Okay? Past, present, or future. The shit gets deep and diabolical to me, in my opinion, because I wondered so many times, how did certain situations happen? I know I wasn't aggressive. I know I didn't start nothing with this person. I know I felt like something was lingering. And even that song Michael Jackson sing, I always feel like somebody's watching me. That song come to mind now. So I feel like they have a certain intelligence where they can remote view how we would watch a TV and remote view with the remote and watch the TV, a portal. Okay. I believe, and according to definition, it's a psychic and intuitive ability to see something where you are not physically there. So that means essentially it is a tool on our energetic and psychic plane, which means if we got trauma entries, right, in our aura, in our energy field, they can create circumstances and situations using the people around you to target you, to the awakened, because they don't have no limit that they will go to maintaining their illusion, power, and control, right? It's a battleground. It's a battle of the mind. Remote viewing, look into that. So these are some of the real hidden war tactics that are being used on the mind actively. Now, what we can do to protect ourselves, because we always want to protect ourselves. And a quick recap, all five can work together. That's psychological, which breaks our morale, spiritual, which breaks our identity. Psychic destabilizes on an unseen level. Intelligence, it feeds the system data. Okay. People, and five, remote viewing is the visible scout. So they have a collective database like they would do on our phones, where they can see what you call it. They can see like what we like, what we think. You ever wonder how you could think something and show up on your phone? And you mean to tell me you don't think that they can spy on you in your house, in your car, on your job? This ain't to fearmonger. This is to bring awareness so that you could protect yourself. Okay. What I like to do is visualize a grid, or like a grid like shield around me, my home, my children, my aura field, wherever I'm going, that area. Because I have been a victim of these attacks. I have. And I'm still dealing with the residues of that right now. So this is the main reason that drove me to do deep dives into what was going on. Because like I said, especially if you know you're not the aggressor in the situation, you know you don't attack people, or you know you, right? And it just seemed like people around you want to attack you or come into your space or start stuff with you, or if you got an eye to see spiritually, you can see them in your dreams, or you can feel them in your energy and things like that. Chances are they got a hit on you. You a target. How are they able to see certain things? That was my question, and I figured it out for the most part. So I wanted to share that with y'all. I thought this was highly beneficial, highly important rather. And as far as it said most modern wars are hybrid. That's physical plus informational plus psychological. When people feel watched, misled, or spiritually attacked, it's often because these layers overlap. See, the war, the military, and all that, that's really an illusion for real. And a lot of times the horn just blew in the background. Y'all probably didn't hear that, but it's really an illusion. They, unless they go, and if you read some of the documents of the CIA and military warfare and things like that, they will blow up or bomb little villages that they think people don't care about because they're testing out their equipment. My question is, what are they really getting ready for? If they are really not at war and they're really, training and all of this extensive training, what they really training for? Could they be training for the day? that we all wake up and shit get to shaking worldwide? Could that be really be what they're training for? Is what I wonder. Because I do understand the spiritual, psychological, and psychic aspect of this fight and this war, but we got to know our enemies, right? We know they don't mind. They don't mind attacking physically. So what are they really preparing for? All right. So we're going to come back with more of this. And like I said, I'm going to leave y'all with, well, I told y'all what y'all can do. Y'all have to use your mind power, your God power. Start practicing visualizing techniques for protecting yourself spiritually. Okay? Because that's very important, and it does work. And then you say out loud, I don't give you permission to remote view me. I don't give you permission. You know, this is a spiritual crime, and I hold you accountable in spiritual court, or whatever you need to say to release them feeling like they have, you know, they're entitled to view you, or they're entitled to abuse you, because they do feel like that. Seemingly, as long as you got a birth certificate and a social security card, they feel like they can do whatever they want to us, because they view us like cattle. They view us like subhumans. To my Black people, they view us like less than them, inferior to them. So they feel like they can do whatever they want to do to you, and you don't have the power to push back and resist. You do. And you also have a spiritual team, your ancestors, who are here to protect you, archangels, and, you know, I call them the Galactic Federation, you know, the cosmic support as well. So you're never alone. And again, this is not to create fear, it's to create awareness so that you will develop intelligence. Okay. And you will deep dive, and you will protect yourself, and you would cut the cord of them feeling like they can do whatever they want to do to you. And you will never physically say anything, because what you say is law. They think that they created law when they created man-made law, which is also a mockery to divine law. That's all that was. They wanted to be able to, you know, physically uphold their power and illusions, their illusion, power, and control by way of man law. And the moment we got our birth certificates and social security cards, we became their slaves, whether our parents knew it or not, which I'm sure most of them didn't know that. They just thought that they was doing, you know, that's what you got to do to get your kids in school. It's all a program. It's all a oppressive, enslaving system. From the very day you was born, we was at war. Didn't even know we was at war. So I hope some of the things that I said has helped you equip yourself enough to want to resist in your God body and be who you was born to be, which is that of a God and of a creator of your reality. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today. I went a little bit over my time, but I still did good. And I will see y'all later. Make sure to subscribe, you know, share the live, share the video, leave a comment for those that catch this replay. I appreciate all y'all support. To the silent supporters as well, shout out to y'all. And make sure you pay attention to your thoughts, because your thoughts create your reality. What you're experiencing right now are from previous thoughts. Okay. So it's very important to be conscious and aware of what you're feeling, because your emotions go hand in hand with your thoughts, which ultimately creates your reality and your destiny. Okay. All thoughts that enter into your mind are not your thoughts. Just be aware of them. You know, if it don't serve your highest good, if it don't make you feel good, it's low vibrational, tell it to sit the fuck down. All right. I say y'all have a big, beautiful day on purpose with the purpose. And I'll see y'all next time.